Determining the winner in a battle between Vulcan, the third son of the Summers family and one of the most powerful Omega-level mutants ever to exist, and Annihilus, the insectoid tyrant who rules the negative zone with the cosmic control rod in his hands, is no simple task. By their very nature, both characters are beings capable of manipulating energy on a level that can reshape the very fabric of reality, break down barriers between dimensions, and destroy entire star systems. Vulcan represents mutant power, a source of energy born from the X gene and the evolution of humanity, while Annihilus embodies the power of biotechnology, combined with primordial cosmic energy amplified through the cosmic control rod. To understand who would be the last one standing, we need to delve deep into the origins, nature of their powers, psychology, and historical battles of both. Let's begin. First, we have Vulcan, the third son of the Summers family. Gabriel Summers, known by the name Vulcan, is the youngest brother of Scott Summers, also known as Cyclops, and Alex Summers, also known as Havoc. Gabriel is one of the most tragic figures in X-Men history. A story of betrayal, loss, and a flame of hatred that was nurtured for decades in the darkness of space. When he was still an infant, Gabriel and his mother, Catherine Summers, were kidnapped by the Shi'ar Empire in an incident connected to his father, Christopher Summers, also known as Corsair. During the rescue attempt, Catherine sacrificed herself, and Gabriel, who was still only a fetus at the time, was placed by Professor X into a state of energy-induced stasis, sealed within an isolated dimension to protect him from threats posed by the Shi'ar. However, this protection became a curse. Gabriel was trapped in the space between dimensions for decades, completely isolated, with no one to talk to, no one to love him, with nothing but darkness and endless silence. During that time, his mutant powers began to awaken and develop uncontrollably, transforming him into an energy being. When he was finally released, Gabriel was no longer an innocent child. He had become Vulcan, a being who carried within him the power of a collapsing star and the heart of a child forgotten by the entire universe. Vulcan's power is at the Omega level, a classification reserved for some of the most powerful mutants ever to exist. His core ability is the absorption, manipulation, and release of virtually every form of energy in the universe. This includes electromagnetic energy, thermal energy, kinetic energy, cosmic radiation, magical energy, and even the power cosmic to a certain extent. Vulcan does not simply fire energy blasts like Cyclops with his optic blasts. He can alter the very nature of energy, converting one form of energy into another and utilizing it in ways that no other mutant can. Vulcan's ability to absorb energy is virtually limitless. He can drain energy from a supernova, absorb radiation from the core of a star, and convert the kinetic energy of physical attacks into power for himself. This makes him nearly impervious to virtually any form of energy-based attack. When Thor brought Mjolnir down upon Vulcan, he not only endured the blow, but also absorbed the energy from the impact and unleashed it back with many times the original force. When members of the Shi'ar Imperial Guard attacked him with all kinds of energy weapons, he simply absorbed everything and became stronger with every attack. Vulcan can generate explosions with destructive power comparable to nuclear detonations, tear apart the atomic structure of matter, and create force fields capable of bending space-time. He has destroyed a planet with a single energy blast, and in a state of extreme rage, his power can reach a level capable of threatening the very structure of the dimension in which he exists. He can also fly at extremely high speeds, although he is not as fast as Silver Surfer, and generate protective force fields capable of withstanding cosmic level attacks. However, Vulcan's true power, and also his greatest weakness, lies in his emotion. Unlike Cyclops, who learned to control his powers through years of training, Vulcan never achieved the psychological stability necessary to fully control his abilities. When Vulcan is calm, he is a powerful but predictable warrior. But when he loses control, when the flames of hatred and the pain of abandonment erupt, his power increases exponentially, transforming him into an unstoppable force of destruction. In this state, he has defeated the entire X-Men, destroyed the Shi'ar Imperial Guard, and threatened the existence of the entire Shi'ar Empire. Vulcan's battles have demonstrated both his terrifying power and his psychological instability. His most memorable battle was when Vulcan confronted the entire X-Men team to free his father, Corsair, from Shi'ar captivity. During this battle, Vulcan faced Cyclops, Emma Frost, Rachel Summers, Polaris, and many other members of the X-Men by himself. He absorbed Cyclops' optic blast and fired it back,
broke through Rachel Summers' telekinesis with sheer power and defeated Polaris with nothing more than a wave of his hand. Another notable battle was when Vulcan confronted the Shi'ar Imperial Guard, the most powerful royal guard force of the Shi'ar Empire. The Imperial Guard consists of warriors whose powers are comparable to or greater than those of many X-Men members, and they are equipped with the most advanced technology in the Shi'ar Empire. Vulcan faced Gladiator, the strongest warrior of the Imperial Guard, who possesses physical strength comparable to Superman. During their confrontation, Vulcan absorbed the energy from Gladiator's attacks, turning his opponent's physical power into a weapon against him, and ultimately defeated him with an energy blast. Vulcan also confronted Professor X himself, the man who had sealed him in the space between dimensions for decades. This battle was deeply personal because Vulcan viewed Xavier as the man who had stolen his childhood and his life from him. He invaded Xavier's mind, shattered every psychic defense the professor had built over decades, and forced him to confront his own guilt. Although Xavier is one of the most powerful telepaths on the planet against Vulcan's raw energy power, his psychic abilities became useless. Vulcan spared Xavier's life, but not out of mercy. He wanted the professor to live with the pain and regret for the rest of his life. During the Emperor Vulcan event, he seized the throne of the Shi'ar Empire and became emperor, using his power to subjugate all who opposed him. During his reign, Vulcan faced countless rebellions and assassination attempts, but he crushed them all through overwhelming force. He also confronted Deathbird, the sister of the Shi'ar Empress, and defeated her in an aerial battle using his flight and energy manipulation abilities to overwhelm his opponent. However, Vulcan's reign did not last, because his power, when left unchecked by reason, began destroying the very things he wanted to protect. However, Vulcan is not without weaknesses. His greatest weakness lies in his psychological instability. The pain of abandonment, decades of loneliness in the darkness, and his desperate desire to be loved make Vulcan highly susceptible to provocation and losing control. In moments of extreme rage, he can unintentionally destroy the very people he wants to protect, and when he lacks a clear objective, his power becomes chaotic and unpredictable. Ultimately, Vulcan's pride is also a fatal weakness. He often underestimates his enemies, looking down on opponents he considers weaker than himself, and this has repeatedly given his enemies opportunities to strike back.
I sincerely hope you will subscribe to the channel. It will help us tremendously, and you are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much.
Now, let's move on to Annihilus, the tyrant of the negative zone. Annihilus is one of the most terrifying and relentless beings. Unlike many other villains, Annihilus is not a god, a mutant, or a cosmic entity. He is an insectoid creature from the negative zone, a dimension that exists in opposition to the universe, where matter is composed of antimatter and the laws of physics operate in completely different ways. The negative zone is a chaotic place where life and death have no clear boundaries, where strength is determined by the ability to survive and the willingness to be ruthless. And within that brutal crucible, Annihilus rose to become its absolute ruler. Annihilus's origins are closely tied to evolution and the instinct for survival. Annihilus was not born with his power. He seized it through cruelty, intelligence, and an unwavering will to survive. He began as a small creature within the brutal ecosystem of the negative zone, where every living being had to fight for survival. Over thousands of years, he evolved, adapted, and eventually discovered the Cosmic Control Rod, a cosmic artifact capable of amplifying and shaping energy at the most fundamental level of reality. The Cosmic Control Rod is at the center of all the power Annihilus possesses. This artifact is not merely a weapon, but an extension of Annihilus himself, connected to his nervous system and consciousness at the molecular level. The Cosmic Control Rod allows Annihilus to manipulate cosmic energy at the atomic level, unleash energy blasts with destructive power comparable to supernova explosions, create virtually impenetrable force fields, and most importantly, grants him immortality. Annihilus has died hundreds of times, thousands of times throughout his existence, yet the Cosmic Control Rod has always regenerated his body, bringing him back from the dead with all of his power and memories intact. This makes him an enemy who is nearly impossible to destroy completely. Annihilus possesses strength, speed, and durability far beyond those of most other creatures. His insectoid body is covered by a natural chitinous armor harder than any metal humanity has ever created, capable of withstanding physical and energy attacks on a planetary level. He can fly at extremely high speeds thanks to his insect wings, which are amplified by energy from the cosmic control rod, and his physical strength allows him to fight some of the strongest warriors in hand-to-hand combat. However, physical strength is only the tip of the iceberg. Annihilus's true power lies in the cosmic control rod and his superior intellect. Annihilus's intelligence is often underestimated because of his insectoid appearance. Many enemies have made the fatal mistake of seeing him as nothing more than a mindless, aggressive monster. In reality, Annihilus is one of the greatest intellects in existence. He has built an empire spanning the negative zone, commanded billions of creatures in the Annihilation Wave, and developed technology far beyond anything known to humanity or even the Shi'ar. He possesses an extensive understanding of the structure of space-time, the way energy operates at its most fundamental level, and the secrets of the negative zone that no other entity possesses. He is a brilliant military strategist who has planned and executed invasions across multiple dimensions with absolute precision and ruthlessness. Annihilus's battles. His most famous and also most brutal conflict was the Annihilation event, when Annihilus led the Annihilation Wave, a fleet consisting of billions of insectoid warriors, in an assault on the universe. His goal was not conquest, but the complete destruction of all life, turning the universe into a dead wasteland so that the negative zone could expand and consume everything. During this event, Annihilus faced some of the most powerful heroes in the universe, from the Nova Corps to Silver Surfer, from Drax the Destroyer to Ronan the Accuser. He used the cosmic control rod to absorb the energy of hundreds of planets, turning them into fuel for the Annihilation Wave, and created biological weapons capable of wiping out an entire species within hours. Annihilus directly confronted Nova, Richard Rider, who possessed the power of the Nova Force, a cosmic energy source comparable to the power cosmic of Galactus. Annihilus used the cosmic control rod to create force fields capable of absorbing the Nova Force, turning Nova's own power into a weapon against him. However, Nova, with the help of Worldmind, the collective intelligence of the Nova Corps, found a way to overcome Annihilus's defenses and ultimately destroy him. But as always, Annihilus's death was not the end. The cosmic control rod regenerated him, and he returned with an even more intense desire for destruction than before. Another memorable battle involving Annihilus was when he confronted the Fantastic Four, particularly Reed Richards, during their many encounters and invasions of the negative zone. Reed Richards is one of the greatest minds on Earth, and he repeatedly sought ways to enter the negative zone in order to study it and stop Annihilus. During these confrontations, Annihilus used his deep understanding of the negative zone to create spatial traps, antimatter force fields, and biological weapons specifically designed to counter Reed's technology. Annihilus frequently captured members of the Fantastic Four, using them as hostages or test subjects, and Reed had to use all of his intellect to rescue his teammates and stop the insectoid tyrant's plans for destruction. Annihilus has also confronted high-level cosmic entities. He once attempted to use the cosmic control rod to absorb the energy of Galactus, the devourer of worlds. Although the attempt failed and Annihilus was repelled, the fact that he dared to confront an entity on Galactus's level demonstrates his audacity and limitless ambition. He has also confronted the Celestials during several events, using negative zone technology to create weapons capable of injuring these colossal beings. What makes Annihilus most terrifying is his ability to regenerate and his absolute persistence. He has been killed by the Fantastic Four, by Nova, by the Avengers, and by dozens of other heroes across hundreds of different battles. But he always returns. And every time he comes back, he brings with him the lessons learned from his previous defeats, new strategies, and an even more intense desire for destruction. However, Annihilus is not without weaknesses. His greatest weakness is his dependence on the cosmic control rod. Although this artifact grants him nearly limitless power and immortality, it is also his Achilles heel. If the cosmic control rod is destroyed or separated from Annihilus, he will lose most of his power and become far more vulnerable. Furthermore, although Annihilus possesses a superior intellect, he is often driven by his survival instincts and cruelty, causing him to make unwise decisions at critical moments. He places too much confidence in the power of the cosmic control rod and often underestimates the creativity of enemies he considers weaker than himself. And now, join me as we compare them directly and analyze the fight. We have two beings who possess the ability to manipulate energy on a cosmic level. A battle between Vulcan and Annihilus is not simply a confrontation between two warriors. When it comes to raw power in their base forms, Vulcan has a clear advantage in energy manipulation. His ability to absorb and convert virtually every form of energy makes him nearly impervious to Annihilus's energy-based attack. The Cosmic Control Rod can unleash devastating blasts of cosmic energy, but Vulcan can absorb those energy blasts and convert them into power for himself. In a pure energy confrontation, Vulcan could drain the energy from the Cosmic Control Rod, weakening Annihilus while simultaneously increasing his own power. This gives Vulcan a tremendous tactical advantage during the early stages of the battle. However, Annihilus is not a fighter who relies solely on energy. He is a terrifying close-quarters combatant with an insectoid body covered in chitin armor harder than any metal and physical strength, capable of going toe-to-toe with some of the strongest warriors. If Annihilus realizes that his energy attacks are being absorbed by Vulcan, he will quickly switch to close-quarters combat, using his flight speed and physical strength to overwhelm his opponent. Vulcan, despite his immense energy-based power, is not a formally trained close-quarters combatant. He has never had to face an enemy capable of approaching him and attacking him physically at close range without relying on energy. Annihilus, with the combat instincts of a creature that has survived in the most brutal environment in the universe, would exploit this weakness without mercy. In terms of intelligence and strategy, Annihilus clearly surpasses Vulcan. Vulcan is a powerful warrior, but he often fights through sheer power and emotion. He lacks the patience to analyze his enemies, identify their weaknesses, and develop an appropriate strategy. Annihilus, by contrast, is a military strategist with thousands of years of experience in warfare. He would not blindly charge into battle. He would observe, analyze, determine how Vulcan absorbs energy, identify the limits of that ability, and develop a strategy to overcome it. He could use forms of energy that Vulcan has never encountered, including specialized energy frequencies from the negative zone that Vulcan's mutant genes were never designed to absorb. He could also use purely physical attacks that carry no energy and therefore cannot be absorbed by Vulcan. When it comes to endurance and recovery, Vulcan is a mutant, and although his power is at the Omega level, he is still a finite being. He can be injured, he can become exhausted, and most importantly, he can die. Annihilus, on the other hand, is nearly immortal thanks to the Cosmic Control Rod. Even if Vulcan finds a way to destroy Annihilus's physical body, the Cosmic Control Rod will regenerate him. This means Vulcan would not simply have to defeat Annihilus once. He would have to find a way to destroy or neutralize the Cosmic Control Rod, an extremely difficult task when the artifact is protected by the strongest force fields Annihilus can create. However, Vulcan has one advantage that Annihilus does not: the ability to absorb energy on a massive scale. If the battle drags on, Vulcan could begin absorbing energy from his surroundings, from nearby stars, and from background cosmic radiation, using this immense energy source to overwhelm Annihilus. During the Emperor Vulcan event, he proved that when given access to a sufficiently large energy source, his power could reach a level capable of threatening the very structure of space-time. If Vulcan can absorb enough energy, he could generate an explosion powerful enough to destroy the Cosmic Control Rod and end Annihilus permanently. Psychologically, both have critical weaknesses. Vulcan is driven by his emotions, especially his anger and the pain of abandonment. Annihilus, with his superior intellect, could exploit this weakness. He could use psychological warfare to provoke Vulcan, reminding him of the years he spent alone in the darkness, Professor X's betrayal, and the fact that he never received the love he desperately longed for. On the other hand, Annihilus also has a psychological weakness. His absolute survival instinct can sometimes make him overly cautious, too focused on preserving himself to the point that he misses decisive opportunities to attack. In addition, his dependence on the Cosmic Control Rod creates a deep fear within Annihilus, the fear of losing the source of power that has defined his existence for thousands of years. Vulcan, with his explosive emotional power, and Annihilus, with the Cosmic Control Rod operating at maximum capacity, would push the battle to a scale capable of destroying an entire star system. Vulcan would absorb all the energy within a range of light years, transforming himself into a being of pure energy with power comparable to a star. Annihilus would use the Cosmic Control Rod to manipulate the structure of space-time, creating regions of antimatter and force fields capable of bending reality. reality. The battle would be prolonged, with both sides continuously attacking and defending, constantly adapting and changing their strategies. Vulcan, no matter how powerful he is still a finite being. He would become tired, he would become exhausted, and he would make mistakes. Annihilus, with his seemingly limitless regenerative ability and absolute persistence, would never tire and never give up. He would wait, endure, and strike at the moment when Vulcan is at his weakest. Therefore, based on my analysis, Annihilus would be the last one standing.
And that concludes our analysis of the battle. I hope you enjoyed this fight. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. Follow me if you enjoyed it. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much.